Hi, everybody. It's Marlene with Eerie.News, and today is April 18th, 2022, Monday, April 18th, 2022. Let's take let's take a ride or a walk on the wild side, or in this case, let's take a walk on the morbid side. Let's look at some true crime, both past and present. Let's start off. This is a story out of Stranger Than Fiction Stories. I wrote this one, and this dates back a few years ago, but I thought it was really interesting. Titled, Who Haunts Ted Bundy's Childhood Home? The home where serial killer Ted Bundy grew up has a contractor who's remodeling it, scrawling Bible verses on the walls and calling in the clergy. I'm not one to believe a lot of this stuff, but this house made me a believer, Casey Clopton, the man remodeling the home, said. He had been hired to work on the four-bedroom home in October of 2016 and said he started noticing eerie things going on there soon after. Periodically throughout the course of the job, we had weird things keep happening, Clopton said, claiming that cell phones and other electronic devices would occasionally get unplugged or immediately die without explanation. On at least two occasions, the words "leave" and "help me" were found written inside the house, in sheetrock dust on a bedroom floor and on a basement window, respectively. Dressers were known to inexplicably fall over, and drawers sometimes opened on their own, despite the doors to the house being locked and nobody being inside. It was really eerie, but really neat, real estate broker James Pitt III remembered. Things apparently got so bad that Clopton penciled Bible verses on the walls and called in two pastors to bless the house. The pair reportedly went from room to room reading scriptures and saying blessings. Everything in that house fought us, and I was kind of weird about it, Clopton said, but I go to church and I have God with me. The frightened contractor said that he knew something was up with the house when he took his 11-year-old daughter there to check it out, like she does with all the homes he works on, and she freaked. My daughter started crying, Clopton recalled. She said she felt weird. She didn't like it there. When he returned the next week with a demolition crew, Clopton said a worker made similar statements about the home and claimed it just didn't feel right. At the time, no one had any idea that Bundy, a notorious serial killer who was linked to at least 36 murders in the 1970s, with some fearing that he may have committed many more, had resided there as a kid. The madman moved into the home with his mother, stepfather, and four siblings in 1955. He was just 9 years old at the time. It wasn't until Clopton started chatting up neighbors about the strange occurrences that he and Pitts found out about the home's infamous resident and called in for backup. We made sure to keep quiet initially because we weren't sure how people would react to knowing a serial killer lived there, Pitts said. While there is no evidence that Bundy actually committed any crimes in the house, he stated in interviews before his execution that his murderous streak stemmed from an obsession with pornography as a teen. Some believe that Bundy took his first human life when he was 14, though he later denied the allegations in a letter to the girl's mother. Clopton wound up completely redoing his childhood home, giving it a fresh coat of paint, a bright yellow front door, and new floors and ceilings. The home was eventually sold for $335,000 to an anonymous buyer. It's unclear if they were aware of its history. Wow. Well, can you... I hope they told that buyer whose house he was buying. I mean, depends. Some people don't care. Some people do care. But can you imagine you buy this beautifully, nicely remodeled, new everything house, and you do your closing, and then you start doing the, meeting your neighbors and saying hello and all that neat stuff, and you get the lowdown because there's always going to be more than one neighbor who's going to be like, let's find out if he knows or she knows about this. And can you imagine you find out? Yeah, I hope they told that buyer a little bit of background. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This is out of The Guardian, and this is titled Back from the Dead, Elusive Ivory-Billed Woodpecker Not Extinct, Researchers Say. And I followed this story because I have heard that there was a couple of bird watchers or bird people that were like kind of obsessed with this because they had seen sightings of this bird, and they were being told, no, you're mistaking it for some other type of woodpecker. that's got very similar markings. No, no, no. And they had a couple of people that were like, no, I know. In other words, they were hunting, not to kill obviously, but to cite, to get proof that this woodpecker was not extinct. In terms of elusiveness, it is the Bigfoot or Loch Ness monster of the bird world, so rare and undetectable that the U.S. government declared it extinct last year. But the ivory-billed woodpecker is in fact still alive and pecking in the forests of Louisiana, a team of researchers has claimed. A series of grainy pictures and observations of the bird, which has its last widely accepted sighting in 1944, show that the scrupulously furtive woodpecker is still holding on in the swampy forest of the U.S. South, according to the team's new research, which is yet to be peer-reviewed. A 3-year quest to find the woodpecker involves scientists trudging through an undisclosed portion of Louisiana woodland to observe the bird and take audio recordings. Unmanned trail cameras set up to take pictures on a time-lapse, and a drone were used to capture photos of the creature. Steve Latta, the director of conservation at the National Aviary in Pittsburgh, who led the effort, said that each member of the team had encounters with the ivory-billed woodpecker and often heard its call, which has been described like hearing a child puff into a tin trumpet. Latta himself saw the bird fly upward in front of him, showing the distinctive white legs to its wings. It flew up at an angle, and I watched it for about 6 to 8 seconds, which was fairly long for an ivory-billed woodpecker, he said. I was surprised. I was visibly shaking afterwards. You realize you've seen something special that very few people had the opportunity to see. The size and the markings of the bird captured in the photos is strong evidence that it is not another woodpecker, such as a pileated or red-headed woodpecker, Latta said. It reinforced to me that yes, this bird does exist, and left me feeling a sense of responsibility to protect it for the future. He said, ivory-billed woodpeckers were once relatively common, stretching from the Carolinas through the southeast U.S. to Texas. They were or are the largest woodpeckers in the U.S., with the males sporting a distinctive red crest on their heads. They enjoy feasting on insects that accumulate in the bark of recently deceased trees. Their numbers started to drop sharply in the 19th century due to human interference with their habitat and overhunting, with their scarcity spurring collectors to hunt them further as valuable specimens. They were also eaten by poverty-stricken people of the time, who turned to devouring the woodpecker, wild turkeys, gopher tortoises, and other wildlife. With just a few of the birds occupying largely inaccessible forests, confirmed sightings, let alone clear pictures, became almost impossible. Last year, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, after years of listing the woodpecker as critically endangered, declared the species extinct. No one has held a camera and got a picture of one in years because it's a scarce bird in tough, swampy habitat, and they don't want people close to them because they've been shot at for 150 years, said Jeffrey Hill, a biologist at Auburn University who took part in another largely frustrating trip to find the bird in Florida in 2005. They have better eyes than we do. They are high in the trees and actively flee people. They aren't great thinkers, but they have developed a pretty simple strategy to avoid people. Hill said Latta's research was very interesting and that he thought it likely that the bird picture is indeed an ivory-billed woodpecker. He added that the FWS was premature to decide the species was extinct and that several dozen would still be holding on in forests across the South. Some people cannot believe a bird can defy documentation by modern humans because we have such dominion over nature, but it is endlessly interesting because if it has done that, it's one pretty impressive bird, Hill said. People who are into birds are fascinated by them. Ivory bills couldn't care less, though. They hate all people. And you know what? I have like 3 woodpeckers, very similar to these, and I know what they mean as that they look like another type of woodpecker, that has red on it. Because I have like 3 in my, because I have very tall trees, and I see a lot of them flying around. There's about 3 of them that I imagine they either nest close by or something. But I see what they're saying. They could be mistaken, but I think that hopefully they are right, and they're not extinct. All right, this is true crime out of the Independent. This happened today. New York mother found in duffel bag stabbed nearly 60 times, police say. A mother of two whose body was found in a duffel bag in a Queens Park on Saturday had been stabbed nearly 60 times according to police sources. Orsoya Gal, 51, was killed in the basement of her home by an unknown attacker who then dragged her body half a mile away and dumped her near a popular walking path on Metropolitan Avenue in the early hours of Saturday morning. Sources familiar with the autopsy information said that Miss Gal suffered nearly 60 wounds, with knife wounds to her neck, torso, left arm, fingers, and hands. She had suffered puncture wounds to her carotid artery and trachea. The Miss Gal's body was discovered by a man walking his dog just after 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Police followed a trail of blood from the bag that led them about half a mile to an upscale gated community in Forest Hills. Her 13-year-old son, Leo, was found alone at home and was questioned before being released by police. Ms. Gall's husband, Howard Klein, and eldest son, Jamie, 17, flew back to New York from Portland, where they had been on a trip. Let me see, because I know that they mentioned also that, which I found really disturbing. All right, basically the person or whoever, they left a trail of blood, okay, that went back to her Juno Street address, and they said that she spent her final hours putting around her yard, enjoying a night out. And they say that a video caught a mysterious figure lugging her makeshift casket down the street, which, for those of you watching the video, here it is. This looks like, one of those videos that people have, like the doorbell cams. And you see this person lugging along this duffel bag. Duffel, kind of like, it looks like it might, can't tell if it's on wheels or not. And the most intriguing and disturbing thing of all, that it says that her husband was in Portland with their 17-year-old son at a college, hunting for college, and that he received an ominous text message from the killer threatening, "Your whole family is next." Okay, not only did he go in there and stabbed this woman multiple times, dragged her body down the street, dumps it close to, I mean, it was like inevitable it was going to be found, and then text her husband. Because I asked myself, well, how would he know the man's phone number? Maybe he got a hold of her phone number and it was there, her phone, and he found the phone number. But that right there is that's that right there is, and there's some type of, I don't want to, how can I say, I don't want to say the motivation, but at the same time, that's like torturing somebody. That's a real sadist there that they got in their hands. Okay, let's go on to another one. This is out of Ripley's, and this is titled "Locked Up by Love: The Dating Game Serial Killer Appearance." I had heard about this a while back. I thought it was really interesting. In the 60s and 70s, before there was Bachelor Nation or 98 Day Fiancé, the on-screen romance began with a household hit, The Dating Game. The groovy set was home to one lucky bachelor or bachelorette asking questions from one side of the wall to the mysterious contestants on the other side. At the conclusion of the show, the eligible Mr. or Miss blindly chose one winner to date based on their answers. In 1978, one mysterious man sat on the opposing side of the wall in hopes of being chosen as contestant. Cheryl Bradshaw's lucky suitor. Introduced to the crowd as Bachelor Number 1, a successful photographer, his charm, wit, and somewhat sexy answers appealed to the audience, which of course in turn appealed to the producers. What the show didn't know, however, is that Bachelor Number 1 had a criminal record, and Miss Bradshaw could be in great danger. His name was Rodney Alcala, and even his audition for the show came with some controversy. Soon-to-be married producers Mike and Ellen Metzger interviewed Alcala for his big dating game debut. Ellen recalls finding his mannerisms and appearance very attractive. something that women watching the show would likely go for. Her future husband, however, felt differently, saying that Alcala had a strange personality, and he wasn't the only one who thought so. One of the other contestants on the aired episode, aka Bachelor Number 2, also described Alcala as creepy and said that prior to the show's start backstage, Alcala told them, "I always get my girl." Doesn't the story sound a bit too familiar? If you're keeping up with your streaming services, you've probably picked up on shows like You, where a man falls so deeply for a woman that he ultimately stalks her and removes any obstacle standing in the way of the relationship. Or perhaps even the Ted Bundy crime drama film, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, where the dreamy Zac Efron portrays a notorious serial killer. It's almost cruel that producers cast such a desirable and attractive lead, only to portray them doing unspeakable and morbid things. And although we see that these characters, and in some cases real people, are or were guilty of committing the unspeakable, for some there's still that twinge of attraction. It's called hybristophilia. Hybristophilia, never heard of that. Hybristophilia is a condition that exists to explain those who are aroused by the object of their affection's wrongdoing and is known as the Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. The condition has been examined by researchers, writers, and authors, pulling in examples from real-life relationships such as those of Charles Manson and Adolf Hitler, though the most widely known example of hybristophilia in today's media is perhaps that of Ted Bundy. Bundy was responsible for the rape and murder of over 30 young women, and yet he was sent fan mail from women all over the world. According to Stephen Michaud, co-author of Ted Bundy, Conversations with a Killer, Bundy received countless letters containing marriage proposals and photographs. He even had groupies in the courtroom at his trials dressed in the same manner as his victims. To make the story even more bizarre, while still on trial in 1980, Ted Bundy actually married one of his admirers. In an age without the technology for background checks, the dating game team didn't have much to go on when casting their show. Unaware of his criminal history, including attempted murder, they allowed Alcala to participate. In the end, Cheryl did decide to leave Alcala, that is until she saw his truer colors the following day. Producer Ellen Metzger received a call from The Bachelorette. She said, "Ellen, I can't go out with this guy. There's weird vibes that are coming off of him. He's very strange. I am not comfortable. Is that going to be a problem?" And of course, Ellen said no. A blessing of good judgment from Cheryl and the support of the dating game team to forgo her date with the inexplicably strange Alcala truly may have saved her life. Following his appearance on the show, an investigation was well underway, and Alcala was convicted of murdering 12-year-old Robin Samso. After a trove of evidence belonging to victims was found in a Seattle storage locker, 3 trials and 30 years after his first conviction, Rodney Alcala was sentenced to death, although he ended up dying of natural causes in July 2021. All in all, it was discovered that Alcala was responsible for the disappearance and murder of 7 women throughout the 70s, one of whom was found just months before Alcala's appearance on the dating game. A truly twisted and tragic tale. There's plenty to unpack when it comes down to the science, psychology, reasoning, and love for a bad boy or dangerous relationship. For all the true crime listeners and lovers out there, take our word for it when we say this is only the start of the story. And honestly, if you're popping on Netflix to learn more about the Ted Bundy, we're going to place our bets on the fact that it's just Zac Efron making you feel some type of way, rather than the serial killer tale or hyperobistophilia. Think about that. You know what? It is that girl, her guardian angels must have been working overtime when she called the producers and said, this guy gives me weird vibes. All right. Wow. All right. Then let's stay on the morbid. Let's stay on the morbid thing. Why not? And I had heard about this before, and I really didn't put much credence in it, kind of. But then I said, let me look it up, and I was surprised. This is out of the Naples Daily News, and it's dead bodies found at Walmart, a list. Now this started, I haven't looked up the more updated, but this one starts in 2018. And it starts, a growing number of people across the country are dying in Walmart parking lots. And also the reason for My interest in this, you know, is that I have done this in the sense of I've been traveling sometimes when I've been in a hurry to get someplace, and me and my husband have stopped and in Walmart parking lots to sleep a few hours. All right. Just because we're trying to get someplace and we knew, hey, we could wake up and grab something to eat in the Walmart and leave. So, yeah, it's not that parking lots are unsafe. In fact, it is the relative safety of the well lit and busy lots combined with a welcoming corporate policy that has drawn more people like Peter Unger to call the Walmart parking lots home, if only temporarily. And where people live, they also die. They include those who are homeless, truckers, immigrants, drug addled, suicidal, or ill, all whose bodies are found nationwide in cars, vans, and other vehicles in the parking lots of the retail giant. It is the last stop, one that can go unnoticed amid the daily crush of shoppers searching for deals, sometimes focused on the rattle of carts instead of their crowded surroundings. Across the nation, the stories bear similar refrains. Grand Blanc Township Police confirmed a dead body was found in a car the afternoon of July 25, 2018, at a Walmart there. Police responded to a call about a foul odor coming from a vehicle in the parking lot. People say the deceased body had been in the vehicle for an extended period of time and the death was not ruled as suspicious, according to a report from the local news station. In Ypsilanti Town, Michigan, a body was found July 16, 2018, in the woods behind the Walmart shopping center on Ellsworth Road. Alvin Newsom, 49, apparently died of natural causes and was homeless. Derek Jackson, Director of Community Engagement of the Washita County Sheriff's Office, said some of his personal belongings were in the woods, like a makeshift campsite. Jackson added, it looked as if he was sleeping there when he passed away. In Springfield, Tennessee, the body of Samuel Joseph DiDomenico, 53, of Greenbrier, was found dead inside a vehicle June 7, 2018, at a Walmart parking lot on Tim Austin Highway, according to the Springfield police. Police didn't suspect foul play was involved. In Norwich, Connecticut, a body was found in a vehicle June 5, 2018, at Walmart 220 Salem Turnpike. People said the death did not appear to be criminal in nature. Illinois, the body of a 49-year-old man who was reported missing for more than a month was found dead May 18th in a van at Bradley, Illinois Walmart. He was seen going into the store May 1st and then leaving a short time later. He died of natural causes, according to media reports. In Vallejo, California, Christopher Grudy, 56, was found dead outside Walmart on May 15, 2018. He was believed to be homeless, was found next to a shopping cart filled with his possessions. Foul play was not suspected. In Melbourne, complaints about a strong odor in a Walmart parking lot in May of 2018 led to the discovery of a decaying body inside a van with partially taped up windows. The van was parked near a car wash. Inside was an unidentified body, possibly that of a homeless man. In Ohio, police said a 59-year-old man found April 17, 2018, in a pickup truck at an airport thruway Walmart died of natural causes. The body was in the truck parked on the side of the retail store since April the 8th. Okay. And it goes on to list a bunch of other ones. Okay. And this was just within a few months of each other. And it's surprising that, you could think of, well, sometimes if the person is homeless, there's nobody to, in other words, to say, put a missing persons report, so-and-so didn't come back, or so-and-so left supposedly to go to the Walmart and he didn't come back. All these people, like, nobody's there to notice. Nothing's ever seen or heard of them. And like I said, you have people pulling into, like the outer areas of the parking lot, to pull over, and I guess nobody most travelers usually leave like within the day. This is just like a stopover, but by the same token, I guess if something's stationary there, it just doesn't cause as much attraction. And not now, but back in that time period, a lot of Walmarts were open 24 hours. As far as, there's still being some foot traffic and everything all throughout the entire day. This is a little bit follow-up to it. Peter Unger traveled the world, first in the Navy at the tail end of the Korean War, and then as a free spirit, searching the ancient paths of India for life's sacred meaning. Toward the end of his life, Unger, sporting a flowing white beard and well off financially, thanks to his handcrafted jewelry business, sought sanctuary in the idea of living simply. But in a twist of fate, the 85-year-old who shunned worldly cares was found dead May 7th, alone in a nondescript white Ford van that sat parked undisturbed for days at a Walmart, a retail giant seen by many as America's temple of commerce and materialism. Unger was among the growing number of people around the country who drew their last breaths in Walmart parking lots, including Donald Ruddock of Canada, founded a North Naples Walmart in February of 2018. It is not that the parking lots are unsafe. In fact, it is the relative safety of the well-lit and busy lots, combined with a welcoming corporate policy that has drawn more people like Unger to call a Walmart parking lot home, if only temporarily. And where people live, they also die. In Brevard County in Florida's East Coast, police have investigated nearly half a dozen such parking lot deaths since 2015, from the badly decomposed remains of a man found inside a fly-swarmed sedan at a beachside Walmart in the simmering July heat, to that of a man who suffered from cancer found the same year in a sport utility vehicle that sat in the far corner of the Walmart lot in Vieira. In both cases, it was the pungent smell that first caught the attention of passerbys or workers. It's unfortunate, but these do happen. It's not uncommon, said Lieutenant Cheryl Traynor, spokeswoman for the Melbourne Police Department, an agency that has investigated the bulk of the Walmart parking lot deaths on the Space Coast. In each case, officers turn up in an environmental suit and masks, sorting through the grisly discoveries from pill bottles to notepads and photos left behind, hoping to piece together the lives of people like Unger who ended up in the parking lot. The body, the shell of their physical humanity faded and decomposed by the elements, are carefully removed and turned over to medical examiners. Family members, if any can be found, are contacted. Across the nation, the stories bear similar refrains. In California, a woman missing for a month turned up dead. Investigators in the February 2016 case said the woman's body remained in the car parked at the retailer for up to 3 months. I don't get that. You would think that the stink coming out of that thing, I don't know. Illinois, the body of a 49-year-old man who was reported missing for more than a month was found dead on May 18, 2018 in a van at Bradley, Illinois Walmart. He was seen going into the store on May 1st and then leaving a short time later. He died of natural causes, according to media reports. In Ohio, police said a 59-year-old man found April 17th, 2018 in a pickup truck at an airport thruway Walmart died of natural causes. The body was in the truck parked on the side of the retail store since April 18th. Here in Florida, a Walmart employee walking the parking aisles February 22nd at a Tarpon Springs store reported a strong odor. Officers arrived and found an unidentified body. Walmart has a long-standing corporate policy that anyone is welcome to stay in their parking lots overnight, depending on local laws. The open lot policies vary from area to area depending on the store managers. Most of the people we see are actually travelers, people in RVs. There's like a whole society or culture out there. We do go out and check the lots, get the cars, and keep an eye out for trash. But our workers aren't peeping into people's cars, said Casey Staheli, a spokesman for Walmart, whose corporate offices are based in Arkansas. Unfortunately, they might smell something, and that's when it's brought to our attention. Other retailers beside Walmart see similar deaths in their parking areas. A West Melbourne McDonald's was the site of another gruesome discovery in April of 2017 when a man's body was found inside a van. He had overdosed, but none are as pervasive or as consistent as the ones that happen at Walmart, which has about 4,000 stores nationwide. Truckers, recreational vehicle enthusiasts, and others view parking spaces as prime locations to find rest. Weary travelers see the stores as friendly and convenient, modern meccas for the nation's transient mobile culture. Inside are restrooms, lower-priced groceries, medical supplies, and even portable grills for cooking. There's also hot coffee, newspapers, and smiles from greeters. Others also find the lots. Despite the hustle and bustle or the sound of the occasional bass-heavy car blasting music as places of safety and belonging. Wow. Tommy Sudstill, a cocoa Minister who advocates for the homeless readies hygiene products, food, and clothes for clients who colonize diverse locations from wooded areas to store lots. Some who may be living in their automobiles are transient, struggling to hold on to jobs, still says. Some park at Walmart in the cool of night and then move on to other sites in the heat of the day. But not everyone who sleeps at Walmart is homeless. They just might not be able to afford a motel room. Walmart is one of the very few retailers that would say, look, don't cause us any problems and you can go ahead and sleep in the parking lot, he says. These are people who stay low-key. For some, it's extremely embarrassing to be homeless, sleeping in a car. I know one man whose family lives in a car. During the daytime, the wife drops him off at work. That's why I will have to give Walmart credit for what they're doing. According to the estimates from the Brevard Homeless Coalition, estimates about 845 people, sheltered and unsheltered in Brevard County, are homeless, according to statistics from 2017. For others like Unger, though the lure of the open road has led them to abandon houses and apartments and live in their vehicles, Unger, who chose to be homeless for the last decade of his life, had been writing letters to his son talking about his exploits and a life untethered to materialistic values. The two had last talked face to face about 2 years ago. He was a philosopher, a wisdom seeker, said Charles Unger of his father, whose remains were found at the Melbourne Walmart on Wickham Road. He liked to teach people to be positive. He could have bought a house but didn't believe in material things and barely had a cell phone, said Unger, who lives just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. But his father did like Walmart, where he found commonality with those who would others passing through and needing a place to rest. He could cook in the parking lot, Unger said. He would tell me that wherever you go in the U.S., you would find professional campers you could associate with. It's a little subculture. It's like a little subculture. Towards the end, the man who loved the Eastern teachings of Indian gurus like Paramahansa Yogananda, while shunning the Western aesthetic of having a home and the latest sports car, saw Walmart in its parking lot as another place of solace. When I last saw him, he wore a hat for the sun, dark sunglasses. He loved philosophy. The big lesson from him was that you could do anything if you put your mind to it. He taught me how to survive, gave me a lot of life lessons, Charles Unger said. He loved shopping at Walmart. On May 7th, there were complaints about an overwhelming odor coming from the van with taped-up windows. Somebody tried to peek inside Bassano Movement. Unger was dead. That his father died alone in a Walmart parking lot and chose an isolated lifestyle doesn't escape Charles Unger's thoughts. Wow. And that's that. Very strange, isn't it? Very strange and unusual. And there you go. So I will be back with you soon. Let's see what we can dig up from our weird and unusual and mysterious world. Thank God it is this way. Otherwise, it'd be so boring, right? Again, till next time. Take care.